What's up, guys? Now, in this video, I want to speak about one thing that I was thinking when I was building my Nestjs application. One awesome feature that Nestjs offer is that almost every instance that we create, uh, every instance of our objects that we create in Nestjs is or are singletons. But I was thinking, what happens with Nestjs, uh, with our Nestjs application, when we try uh, to manage thousands or millions of requests in our Nestjs server. What happens? For what reason we don't override? We don't lose every context in every request if our instance is only one singleton. I was thinking in this how we don't lose for what reason one request don't override the previous request and the next request don't override the previous request. I was thinking in that, so I finally understand what is happening in the Nestjs application. So if I return to my Nestjs application, I am working with GraphQL. You see, I am using resolvers, and I have here one query operation that allow to get nutritional meals for patient. And by default, this class is one singleton. That means that only will exist one instance of this class in our entire Nest.js application. So happens? What is happening when we receive millions of requests, for instance, in these query operations, and Nest.js is capable to manage all without problems and return the properly response to every client that requests to this query operation. And the response is because basically every time only exists one instance, but every time that we execute this query operation don't lose the context. That means that every time that we receive one request, always we will receive new arguments in this with one or one new DTO that basically is our body with information that sent us uh, the client, and the selectors also will be different from another request that realize another client, and the same applied to the context. In this case, I don't have the context, but if I want to retrieve the context, equally the context will be different for every request that we receive. For a reason, we don't lose information. We don't lose the context. We don't lose the scope of every request. And now imagine that you are realizing million of requests to this query operation. All these query operations will be because it is one async method, async operation. All these requests will be enqueued in the callback queue because it is one async operation. That means that if you receive millions of requests, those millions of requests will be enqueued in that queue callback queue, and every callback queue operation that is enqueued, that was enqueued with that specific or with this specific DTO, with this specific selectors, and if we want to retrieve the context, also will be accumulate, will be enqueued with that specific context. That means that when our uh, operation is executed, will be executed, any operation that was executed from the callback queue will be executed with this context, with this DTO, with this selector, and that ensures that every operation is being executed with the required DTO, with the required selection, and the required context. For a reason, one singleton is capable to manage millions of requests. That is awesome. Another thing is that Nestjs by default is one singleton, but if you want, also you can create. It is by default Nestjs is configured in this way. The scope dot default means that it is one singleton. But if you want one different behavior, you can create one request, one instance for every request that you receive in your Nestjs application. Of course, that can be one problem if you want one really performant application, but depends of the project. So if you need in this way your not only your controller, not only your resolver, every class that you create, uh, Nestjs also can create one instance for every request that you are releasing. But that can be interesting if you manage, for instance, a state in your Nestjs server. But it is not recommendable to manage states in the Nestjs application. For instance, we will create it private if we create one instance for every request that we receive, here will not exist problem because you are still guaranteeing that the response to the client will be that that we that will be confirmed, that will be according to the request that realize the client. But you have here problems if it becomes one singleton. If it is one singleton, you can have problems here because basically you one request from one different client can override the request from another client, and it can be one disaster. One disaster, yeah. Uh, so for that reason, it is not recommendable to manage state in one server. But if you need it, also it is really wonderful that Nestjs also provides that. So that is all that I wanted to share about to this, to how Nestjs is capable to manage thousands or millions of requests with one unique method. Really awesome. This all for now, guys.